Hi everyone, Austin Scott here. Today we're going to be talking about the promotional strategy for You Control It. So before we get started, a couple things I want to mention. With our promotional strategy, we're thinking diversity and efficiency. We're going to take a primarily non-traditional approach to make sure that the promotions that we're going to be using are getting the most interest generated and bringing in the most sales for the cost that we're incurring. We're going to be using a lot of different promotional tools, pursuing advertising in a lot of different media to achieve the maximum outreach and return for all of the promotion that we're doing. So starting with advertising, we're going to be very non-traditional in the way that we're approaching advertisements. We're going to use very little TV advertisement, if any, and I'll get to why we're going to do that in a little bit. And that's mostly going to be targeted at our elder segment. What we are going to be doing in terms of advertisement is focusing on media, streaming media, and iPhone and other mobile apps like Spotify and YouTube, mobile and TV apps like Hulu, because that's really where the most potential is for advertising to our two younger target segments. So to refresh your memory from that discussion, we have three primary target segments. The younger two I'm going to lump together for the promotional strategy because their needs and the way we're going to reach them is very, very similar. But we've got our young singles, so this is people in their early 20s, think college student, and they live by themselves. They're out of the home most of the time, so, probably have their own apartment and think school all day, work all night, or vice versa. And then young families, that's couples who are in their late 20s, early 30s, have a child or two. Both parents work outside the home, so the home is unoccupied a fair amount of the day. And then we have our elders, people who are in retirement, who income varies widely, but the unifying theme of this demographic is, one, their age, and two, their occupation. They are no longer employed outside the house. So with this demographic, we're focusing less on safety than we are on elder monitoring for health reasons. So keep those segments in mind while we're talking about the promotion strategy. Personal selling is going to be key for the first few weeks or months of the launch. And I'm thinking primarily demos at the retail stores where we're going to be carrying the product. If we can get some people to see the product in action, have a trained salesperson there who can explain what the product offers that current products are not offering, and if we can get enough people to try it, I don't think personal selling is a long-term need for our strategy, but I think it would be very effective at launch in getting the product in the hands of enough people to where we can start relying more and more on word of mouth as people try the product and have positive experience with it. Sales promotion, I really would like to have very good displays near the product at the purchase point wherever it's located in the store. This is especially critical as we get farther and farther post-launch because we can't afford to keep having demonstrations of the product, but what we can afford is to have good displays to demonstrate the product, have some key information about what the product does, and again, compare to competitors. Brief segue, with our advertising and just our promotion in general, our communication objectives are twofold. We have need recognition and evaluation of alternatives. You're going to hear me constantly saying we need to compare to competitors, because when I talked about in the target segment, You Control It is very different from the security systems that are on the market right now, and we can make that diversity, that difference from what's in the market right now, a big selling point, both with its customizability and its price point. So constantly referring back to how this product is beating the competition is something that's going to be running through all of our promotions. And then need recognition, I misspoke a little bit when I talked about our positioning strategy, because the product itself is meeting a functional need, but I guess what I was referring to is the creative theme that I want running through all of the advertising and all of the promotion that we're doing is more symbolic, appealing to the customer's need for safety and appealing to the financial value, seeing the product as an investment. So back to the promotional tools. We've got advertising, we've got the personal selling with demos at stores, we've got the displays at the purchase point for our sales promotion. Direct marketing, we need to be very careful with. We're going to avoid it almost completely with our younger target segments, and we're going to utilize it as one of the key means of promotion to the elderly. The research up to this point suggests that people of my generation, in their young 20s, all the way up through approaching their 30s, have a very negative view of traditional advertising and of direct marketing. When they see that you are trying to sell a product at them, they have a very defensive reaction, which is why we need to make our messages to them as discreet and low profile as possible. Get the information out there, convey the message, but don't make it pushy, and definitely don't make it sound like the advertisements that they're used to, because they will shut the message out. And at that point, we're spending money to convey a message that's actually getting us a negative reaction. The elderly, on the other hand, are very used to traditional advertising and direct marketing, so we don't really need to avoid these means of communication with them. In fact, one of the promotional tools that I'm really excited about for the elderly is TV shopping. It's recently been brought to my attention, and the more that I read about it, the more I like the idea. It's definitely most popular with the elderly, but TV shopping and the internet counterparts have a very wide audience across all age ranges, across gender, across income. So we can really leverage that we can make it more geared toward our elder target segment. But while we're at it, it's going to be hitting all of the other age ranges as well, including not only our two younger target segments, but even the middle-aged target segment, which I talked about, we're really not pursuing right now. But if it's working, we're definitely not going to be turning away sales where we can get them. So this may even be a means of, in the future, reaching a target segment that we're currently not pursuing. So if you think about it, TV shopping is the perfect medium to demonstrate you control it. We get to show the product in action. We get to provide lots of information that you can't fit into a short 20 to 30 second audio ad like on Spotify or Pandora. And you have an immediate selling point. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a phone number, a website, where people can go and immediately purchase the product. This works very well with the elderly, but in addition, like I said, it'll be reaching both of our younger target segments as well. So I really want to make sure that we put a good deal of effort into having a good feature on Home Shopping Network or one of the other major TV shopping programs. We're going to do a little bit of internet advertising, but again, we have to keep in mind that the target segments that are going to be seeing the internet advertising most of the time are going to be our young single and young families, and neither of them like advertisements. So as non-traditional as we can be, even in the internet. We're not going to be putting ads on home pages, not on Google and Yahoo, not on Gmail, not on Facebook. There are some apps that are very popular among the target segments, like Instagram and like Twitter and Tumblr, but they're really not conducive to ads. So I think we need to focus primarily on our video apps like YouTube and Hulu, and then our audio streaming apps like Pandora and Spotify. There's some good research on demographics and ad effectiveness for both of those categories. So I think that should be our starting point, and that should be our focus for the younger two target segments. And then finally, public relations. I'm not opposed to using public relations as a promotional tool for You Control It, but right now I don't think we need to be relying on it. We're already spreading ourselves quite thin in all of the different advertising media and promotional tools that we're going to be implementing. So I think public relations is something that we should take advantage of if we can find the right opportunities and the right ways to feature the product, but I don't think that it's a tool that we're going to be relying very heavily on at all at this point. So getting a little bit more in depth about how the advertisements will actually look, or in this case sound, because really if we're putting on a Spotify or Pandora ad, it's more the equivalent of a radio ad than television. We're not going to have a video playing. So again, keeping in mind with Spotify and Pandora, the target segment we're looking at is our young single and our young family. We need 20 to 30 seconds. Keep it conversational, friendly, possibly even lighthearted and comical. I don't know how we could do that with the product in question, but that would be the ideal. It could start off just mentioning how the listener works hard, being at school all day and work all night, or at work all day and school all night, and just feature some key statistics or information, such as our youngest target segment, the young 20-something, the young single. They're the most likely target for a home invasion. So just mentioning that, conveying that there is a need, and then present You Control It, very quick summary of what the product does, how it compares to the competition, and then how they can purchase it. Point out big selling point for our younger target segments I mentioned in our conversation several weeks back. There's no monthly fee. That'll be a big selling point. Just point that out, and that's automatically going to get some interest. And then show how You Control It is going to meet the need, that we can keep an eye on, or we can make sure that things you work hard for are kept safe. The creative theme that I want running through these advertisements and through our whole promotion strategy is giving you control. Now we can use that play on words. It doesn't need to be that exact line, but that's the idea. There's some other variants on it. We'll have to do some pre-marketing research and figure out what's going to work well with our target segments. We may even need to use different taglines for our younger segments and for our elder segment. But some other ideas I've got is we've got it under control. If you want to make a joke in the Spotify ad, we like control freaks. Another good one would be putting control in your hands. But the underlying theme needs to be keeping control of the individual's safety, their well-being, and You Control It being the product that offers that to them. So real quick about the budget, I don't see any good way to figure out the budget for this other than simply objective and task. We're going to be using a lot of different media, and chances are this strategy is a bit ambitious for what we can reasonably do financially. So what I think we ought to do is figure out how much it's going to cost, perfect circumstances, with every medium that we want to pursue. And if that total number does not fit in with the budget that we have in mind,